Alright, so we're back with a Q&A, and I did post something on my story a few days ago where I just ask a bunch of questions, and I will be here to deliver the answers. Now, I didn't write down all of them mainly because I'd be sitting here for a very long time. Alright, question number one. What and who inspired you to get into fitness? So this boils down to two people. For powerlifting slash strength orientated stuff, that would be Pete Rubish, and for like bodybuilding and aesthetics, that would be David Lade. Now, if you've watched those guys for quite some time, you could definitely see the phases I went through, like early videos, and I would say just in general, um, the choices in my music and the way I edit and the clothes I wore, the volume and intensity, just everything that makes up most of my videos. It's uh, it's mainly inspired by those two. Should I compete in a powerlifting meet? Absolutely. There's a lot of things that I feel like that you would benefit for powerlifting, mainly because it really teaches a lot more about yourself as far as like your limits. And that kind of applies to a lot of other sports, not just powerlifting, but in a sense where you lie in as far as your strength, obviously. And I think anybody else should like experience that because it's such a good feeling, and I don't think I'd be where I am if I didn't find powerlifting. All right, thoughts on steroids. So I personally wouldn't take steroids, obviously, but for the fact that it would jeopardize my natty status and I really wouldn't be able to compete in powerlifting naturally. And the reason for that is because I feel like that my genetics is something that I haven't fully explored and maxed out. So I don't see a reason to kind of not utilize what I've already been given and instead just do it the right way. And if even if you do decide to take steroids, just do blood work, seek the advice of a doctor. Just don't mess up your organs and pass away early. Next question. If you could give one piece of advice to your younger self about health and wellness, what would it be? I would just tell them to take things slow, mainly because whenever I was younger, I thought I knew everything and I really took a lot of things for granted. And that really resulted to a lot of the consequences I'm having to deal with, and it was just all a part of growing up. So all right, so those were all the questions that I had written down. I do plan on posting more as far as like Q&As, mainly because I think this is pretty interesting and just for y'all to get to know me a little bit more personally. So I'll see you on the next one. It's gonna just um what's the word I always use? Fuck, what was that word I always use? This was a pretty touchy. Oh my god, I keep forgetting words, dude. So that's all the questions that I have written down. Alright, so that's all the questions I have written. God damn, Doug. It's never too late to jump.